Good afternoon, Dr. Lang Lindsay. I am doing my video review over the article, The Importance of Anti-Racism in Trauma-Informed Family Engagement. This article seeks to find a connection, if any, between the events that lead to trauma for children of color and the negative impacts that these traumas may have on their ability to navigate educational and societal expectations. Additionally, they seek to find a correlation between these findings and how they affect the family relationship, the family dynamics within the education system, and how this strained relationship further affects the family's overall mental health. The study found that children of color and their families were often recipients of racism in covert and overt forms. These racist events adversely impacted and prohibited communication between the impacted families and the systems which they routinely participated, in particular the school systems, because there are obstacles for these families. Their voice as well as their mental health needs are in jeopardy. One of the articles written in 22 from the Administration of Policy in Mental Health stated that some of the more effective interventions will be interventions that involve families, striving to increase retention and improve family functioning compared to youth-only programs. That was from Hainschlegel and Walsh, Hogwood, Inglesby, and Lindsay et al. In essence, what they're saying is that the more effective interventions will encompass positive mental health outcomes for the entire family structure instead of child-only treatments. Some of the implications for social workers as we practice with families will be that social workers are on the front lines for helping society overcoming mental health adversity. Social workers have long known that if one family member is negatively impacted, then others in the family structure will also, at least to some degree, be adversely impacted as well. Additionally, it is well known that minorities, through their disenfranchised roles, are at more significant risk than most of society. Because of their lack of strength. And when we talk about a lack of strength, we're talking about their lack of the ability to use their voice. Children are the most oppressed and subsequently most traumatized segment of any portion of our nation, of our society. When all of these factors are combined, social workers can see a genuine need for the ethical development of best practices. When we delay attempts to create mitigating or alleviating intervention strategies, we further doom, or we further impart adversity onto another generation of minority children. So the longer that we wait to implement best practices, the longer we wait, the more children will be adversely impacted. Diversity issues and relevance. This article is all about diversity and how it relates to diversity, and so this article delves into oppression and the resultant trauma that's forced upon the youngest of minority families. So we're talking about children who are in school, for instance. In this case, it shows how minorities of many cultures are negatively impacted in their formative years. And so when children are going to school from the ages of pre-K to all through grade school, junior high school, these are the years that their selves are being formed, that their personalities, that their feelings about themselves are being impacted. And so when kids are exposed to cumulative ACEs, and when we talk about ACEs, we're talking about adverse childhood experiences. They are involved with negative traumatic stress episodes. So it's well known that minorities, because of their more marginalized status, are less likely to seek help because of their fear of those in power. So when we couple the chance for trauma, the adversities that minority children were faced during their most in their most formative years, and then we add into that the fact that that minority families across the board generally do not like to address their problems with those in power because of accumulated fear from the more powerful in society. We're creating a landslide effect that continually will impact our nation. ACEs, when we talk about adverse childhood experiences, uh, minority cultures and children in the minority cultures do not necessarily experience the same exposure to ACEs as their white counterparts. While all children are potentially vulnerable, minority children face the added stressors of inadequate services and fewer opportunities for health care in their neighborhoods. This iniquity, coupled with higher prevalences of racism, of abuse, and the resultant traumatic events, significantly impacts minority children and their families. Because racism uniquely explains why minority youths are excessively exposed to mental health disparities. So we need to develop new and more potent theoretical models and interventions to combat this. Uh, while most modern research appears to be focused on minority adults or cultures, this article is aimed at recognizing the effects that racism has on children within the school system. Uh, the parent-teacher relationship has historically been viewed as symbiotic. You know, when I think about my relationship with our teachers, it's a symbiotic relationship, but with the minority children, it's different. Where they have less open lines of communication and cooperation. Uh, a cooperative vision is only possible because parents and teachers have historically trusted each other. And they had a single vision that was built upon trust, where the goal was the healthy growth and matriculations of their child, and for the parents and the student for the teacher. Uh, but while white Americans are able to develop this relationship with the school system, minorities are by and large are inhibited or prohibited from the same style and level of engagement. Because minority families are inhibited or hindered or unable to develop relationships with school systems, negative stereotypes are allowed to permeate. Minority families are unable or unwilling to participate in school functions, and therefore a circle of adversity continues. Uh, it's documented in the magazine Equity and Excellence in Education. Uh, Cooper wrote in 2009 that parents of color are often stereotyped as being uninvolved, uninterested, and uncaring, but when they're unwilling to participate because of even perceived racism, much less real racism, then that stereotype is going to permeate and going to continue. So, along with a lack of participation by families, the symbiotic relationship is just not there. So, this article focused on the adversity that minority families may face and what they have to overcome because of their black or brown skin color. While many studies include racial adversity and outcomes for minority adults, this study is designed to shed light on how children and adolescents faced with traumatic experiences at an early age impacts their matriculation through school and how their families react to it and how their families are perceived by these same school system. It also delves into intervention strategies that school systems can employ to mitigate racism felt by minority students to alleviate the stressors on the students and ultimately the stress on the family they represent. Thank you.